Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Her Excellency, the Right Honourable Dame Cindy Kero, Governor-General of New Zealand.
Pini maha e te nui e te rahi, ko tau i takahi te aoto ngaki ngaki, ko tātou mātua nui te rangi he. Kiki maha, kake maha, haere mai rā he.
Kia taui honga manaakitanga ki runga ki tēnā o tātou. Kia whai kroria ki rākoe e ihoa o ngā manu. Tua uri uri, pā io, ki tonu te rangi me te whenua i tau kroria nui, matua, tama, wai rua tapu me ngānere pono me te māngai hei tautoko mai, ai nei, ake nei, ai. Kia ora tātou.
Please be seated. E ngā mana e ngā reo, e ngā iwi o ngā hau e whā, tēnei aku maha, mahan mihi kia koutou. Nau mai haere mai ki te whare kawana. Kia ora mai tātou katoa. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you to Government House for this morning's investiture ceremony. I specifically want to acknowledge Joe Harawira, Government House Kaumātua, and Puhi Wahine Tibble, Government House Kuia. Dr. Davis and I are delighted that we could host you here in person on this very special day for recipients, for your friends and your families. As Governor-General, I have the immense privilege, on behalf of Her Majesty, the Queen of New Zealand, to confer the honours to which you are each entitled. It's very special to bring together such a diverse and extraordinary group of New Zealanders. Some of you have achieved national and international renown, while others are pillars within your communities, dedicating your lives to serving others. What you share is the positive impact that you've had on Aotearoa New Zealand. You've brought pride and a greater sense of well-being to our country, and for that, I thank you. Today's recipients also share that defining New Zealand quality, the belief that anything is possible. It's that strength of belief, that drive that brought you here today. Ladies and gentlemen, each recipient, when they are honoured, I invite you to join me in thanking and congratulating them for their service to our country. Ms. Catriona McLeod will now summon the recipients and read their citations.
Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Order, Mrs. Michelle Grant of Gisborne, for services to victims of sexual violence. Michelle Grant has worked for Whānau Ahura Moai o Turanganui Kiwa Gisborne Rape Crisis for 25 years, supporting those affected by sexual violence. She began as a volunteer and has been coordinator since 2009. She developed and helped to implement the Hei Au Rokati Suicide Youth Prevention Program. After identifying an emerging need, she developed programs and counselling for men. She developed and implemented Te Tiriti o Waitangi workshop into the National Rape Crisis Training Manual. She's helped her local rape crisis become a fully kaupapa Māori organisation and is part of the Kaupapa Māori Sexual Violence Steering Group. Mrs. Grant serves on the governance group and as treasurer of the National Collective and was part of the National Sexual Violence Steering Group. Mrs. Michelle Grant, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Gary Carnachan of New Plymouth, for services to secondary school sport. Gary Carnachan was the Chief Executive of School Sport New Zealand, providing an annual calendar of more than 200 national or North-South Island level events. He established the Sport and Education Program with Sport NZ. He's tackled the controversial issues of poaching in secondary school sport and obtained agreement on a national integrity framework that has levelled the school sport playing field. He's Vice President of Football New Zealand, a Board Director of the Taranaki Community Rugby Trust, a member of the New Zealand Community Trust Regional Advisory Committee, and a former Director of AFL New Zealand and University and Tertiary Sport New Zealand. Mr. Carnachan was Professional Development Manager for New Zealand Rugby and Team Manager for the Hurricanes and Junior All Blacks. Professor Emerita Paula Jameson of Christchurch for services to plant science. Professor Emerita Paula Jameson is a leading plant scientist working at the University of Canterbury. She was chair of the Royal Society of New Zealand's Marsden Ecology, Evolution and Behaviour Panel, a ministerial appointee to the Independent Biotechnology Council and principal moderator for the Tertiary Education Commission's PBRF 2018. She was inaugural head of the School of Biological Sciences at the University of Canterbury. She's been noted for her research expertise in physiological and molecular plant biology, her extensive list of publications, and her support supervising postgraduate students. Her key contributions include elucidating the myriad roles that the plant hormone group, the cytokinins, play in plant development. Professor Jameson has undertaken major collaborations with the applied sector in areas of forage, seed production and fruit development. Professor Emerita Paula Jameson, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Peter Horn of Lower Hutt, for services to bowls and Paralympic sport. Peter Horn is founder and president of New Zealand Disabled Lawn Bowls. He won gold and bronze medals at the 1988 Seoul Paralympic Games. He was selector, coach, manager and player for New Zealand at the 1993 Adelaide World Disabled Bowls. He's won 10 World Disabled Bowls tournaments and several club and centre titles against the able-bodied. He was instrumental in hosting the international bowls for the 2015 Disabled World Championships. He organised and ran the 2018 Disabled National Bowls Tournament. He's coached hundreds of people and spoken at local schools. Mr. Horn is a member of the Nainai Bowling Club and Hutt Valley Sports Committee. Mr. Peter Horn, please come forward. Dr. Peter Madison of Katikati for services to conservation. Dr. Peter Madison was a member of the Royal Forest and Bird Society's National Executive for 15 years, including 4 years as president. He's a member of the Society's Waitakere branch. He was a founding member and trustee of Weed Free Waitakere and Eco Matters Trust. He is scientific advisor to Project Parore, an ecological restoration project based in Katikati. His BioBlitz ecological surveys have led to the discovery of several new species. In 1999, he identified the presence of the painted apple moth in New Zealand, which averted a potential disaster for the horticulture industry. Dr. Madison is a fellow of the Royal Entomological Society of London. Dr. Peter Madison, please come forward. Dr. Samantha Merton of Wellington for services to medical education, particularly general practice. Dr. Samantha Merton is President and a Distinguished Fellow of the Royal New Zealand College of General Practitioners. She was the college's first medical director and national clinical lead for the General Practice Education Program. She is a practitioner, trustee, and medical director at Wellington's Capital Care Health Centre. She's a senior lecturer and trainee intern convener at the University of Otago in Wellington. She was awarded a fellowship with the Academy of Medical Educators in the United Kingdom and worked with the Academy as an assessor. Dr. Merton wrote and illustrated Minor Surgery, a visual guide for office-based surgery, which is used by University of Otago medical students. Dr. Samantha Merton, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mrs. Jan Riley of Nelson for services to cancer support and fundraising. Jan Riley has held multiple roles across the Nelson Tasman Hospice, including working as a family support volunteer for 22 years. She coordinates the Tree of Remembrance, an annual hospice promotion. She's responsible for sending cards and letters to bereaved families and coordinating the local raffle promotion. She established a service offering birthday flowers for patients and coordinates a support group for patients and bereaved families. She's the manager of her area's first hospice shop. Mrs. Riley has volunteered for 31 years with the Nelson Tasman Cancer Society as the Daffodil Day area coordinator for Motueka. Mrs. Jan Riley, please come forward. Mr. Greg Shelton of Tolaga Bay for services to the community. Greg Shelton has volunteered with Civil Defence in Tolaga Bay since 1990 and is currently area coordinator, having been a long-term sector warden for the southern part of Uawa. He is a member of Uawa and Anzac Committee and maintains the soldiers' plot at Tolaga Bay Cemetery. He was involved with the refurbishment of Reynolds Hall, having been a trustee of the hall and serving time as chairman. Mr. Shelton has supported his local surf life-saving club, was a trustee of Uawa FM Radio Committee, coached Uawa Junior Rugby, and has been involved with the Uawa Nui Environmental Sustainability Project. Mr. Greg Shelton, please come forward. Mrs. Vanessa Taylor of Lower Hutt for services to bowls and the community. Vanessa Taylor is Secretary of Stokes Valley Bowling Club and has been instrumental in securing business sponsorship, making the club more accessible and promoting it through social media. She's worked as a teacher aide with special needs students for many years. She was a driving force behind the establishment of the Stokes Valley Community Childcare Centre, serving as inaugural chair and later secretary and treasurer. She was pivotal in finding and establishing new premises at Tui Glen School. Under Mrs. Taylor's guidance, funding was secured and the centre's mortgage was paid off in 3 years. Mrs. Vanessa Taylor, please come forward. Your Excellency, the investiture has concluded.
Kia ora anō. Our honours system is New Zealand's highest public affirmation of outstanding individual achievement. It reinforces those things that make our society better: service, commitment, manaakitanga, and the pursuit of excellence. Recipients of these honours embody something else quintessential to Aotearoa New Zealand: that it is our diversity, our difference of backgrounds, views and experiences and skills that ultimately bind and strengthen us. To our recipients, it has been a privilege to hear your stories. You have each used your talents and abilities to improve the lives of fellow New Zealanders. Your actions and the lives that you lead reflect the spirit of the words of previous President Barack Obama. In the fleeting time we have on this earth, what matters is not wealth or status or power or fame, but rather how well we have loved and what small part we have played in making the lives of other people better. I urge you to wear your insignia with pride at every opportunity, knowing that your contributions are recognised and valued, and that you inspire others by your example. On behalf of the Queen of New Zealand and on behalf of all New Zealanders, I congratulate you on your achievements, and I thank you again for your service to our country. Ka hoi hui mai e tātou katoa i tēnei rā. Ladies and gentlemen, before we conclude the formal part of today's ceremony, I invite you to stand and join me in singing our national anthem in te reo and in English. The words are on the back of your program.